Coming up next on In the Box Seat podcast.
For the first 2 years, in other words, their first and second crops. The first Group 1 winner for each of them, for each of those years. Okay, so like year 1 for Gustav, his first Group 1 winner. For Morpheus, his first Group 1 winner. It works out to 10 million rand for the breeder, for Gustav, 10 million rand for the breeder for Morpheus, 10 million rand for the owner of the winning horse, and 10 million rand for the owner of the Morpheus. And then, as I said, we were going to add in an extra 2 million rand for the person that actually signed the chit at the sales.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat podcast, proudly brought to you by RaceCoast. Our guest today has tried many parts of the horse racing industry. He owns a stud farm in Gauteng, spends most of his time in courtrooms. Our guest, we welcome him, Advocate Nigel Riley. Nigel, how are you?
I'm really good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. And I'm co-hosted today by my good friend and colleague, Raheel Radhakrishna. How are you?
Yeah, very thanks, Warren. Good to be here with you, and first time meeting Nigel, so it'll be interesting to hear your story.
Absolutely, it will. It certainly will. And for those that, it's quite humbling to know that you got on an aeroplane and jetted all the way in from Gauteng to be with us. Thank you.
It's my absolute pleasure. As I said, when I got the invitation, I was more than happy to come.
Nigel, let's start off. Where were you raised, and how did racing creep into your life?
So, I was actually raised on the East Rand, and my parents had horses, and I just sort of fell into the whole scenario. And as I said, my parents had them. When I said they had horses, they had 1 or 2. And it was great. I mean, it is the most exciting thing.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because, when you look at racing nowadays, we're trying to get more young people involved. And often people, or at least kids, I should say, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, we see them at the racecourse, which is, it's pretty good that, nowadays you don't really have to be 18 to enter. And they get a good exposure to it now.
100%. I mean, that's what happens in England and Ireland. They have pony races where the kids start riding in races from 10 or 12, and then they bring their mates and they get into it.
Nigel, once upon a time you were on the back of a horse for a long time. Tell us about that stint.
So we tried hurdle racing here, or national hunt racing, for 3 years. So I did that. It was hell. I have total sympathy with jockeys. I was walking around at 63 kilos. Because we were riding at 65, 66. I have great sympathy with jockeys who have weight issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
What convinced you, though, to give it a try?
You see, I'd done a lot of show jumping and eventing as a child.
Sure.
And it's a fun thing. In all honesty, riding in races, the jockey should actually pay us to do it. It's the most exciting thing you can do. It's far more exciting than training. It's just awesome. It's the ultimate adrenaline rush.
And did you win a few?
So, Warrie, from my sins, I was champion jockey 2 out of the 3 years. Okay. And the third year I fell and I broke my pelvis. So that was the end of that season, yeah.
Nigel, then you held a trainer's license. When and for how long?
So I think I trained, I was trying to work it out driving here. I think I must have trained for about between 15 and 18 years. I started really young and really training my parents' horses more than anything else.
You sort of mentioned, obviously growing up, with your parents and them having horses. So was it just a natural thing to just head into that sort of industry and stay into it? We'll hear more about the law side of it, but at what point did you think to yourself, okay, this may not be something that I want to do in the long run?
Well, training?
Yeah.
I kept getting phone calls from my bank manager. That was the ultimate decider, yeah.
Then Raheel mentions law, and we jump around in the podcast, and that's fine, but because I want to come back to your training. Law, talk to us about the transition and why the transition. I know you were just saying from the bank manager, but...
No, so what happened was I tend to sort of had a bit of problems with the authorities, especially NHA. It hasn't really changed much. But there's a guy called Alec Costa who was at one stage the chairman of the NHA, and I was in another inquiry, not for dope. I can't remember what it's for. And we were having tea afterwards, and he said to me, I don't know why you're wasting your time being a lawyer. Being a trainer, you should rather go be an advocate.
Right.
And that started it. And then I had a good friend, he was an advocate, he got killed in a plane crash.
Okay.
And that was sort of the push to go. But I had to go get a law degree. I didn't have a law degree. I had other degrees, but I didn't have a law degree. And so I had to go back and do law. And then I became an advocate,
At what age did you decide that, okay, you're going to get your law degree? And what other degrees did you have as well?
So an accounting degree, I had an MBA, and then I went back and did an LLB.
Oh, interesting. So out of all the things, you decided to go ahead into law. Accounting is such a massive field. And
No. Well, I never, ever practiced, ever.
sure, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go back to training. Where did you train? You must have been on a farm, or where were you?
No, I started at the Val, and then moved to Randkiesfontein. I was opposite Patrick and Sean Michael, de Kock. So, it was great.
While, you've got law and you're in court most of the time, you've got this beautiful farm, Heversham Park Stud Farm, Heversham Park Farm. First question is, how did the name come about?
So Fred Cravier owned it previously, and Patrick Shaw talked me into buying it because I was actually at the time thinking of relocating to Natal.
Okay.
And Patrick taught me out of it, which was probably the right thing to do. And when I was in matric, I got a scholarship to go overseas to a school there, and that was in a village called Heversham, and that's how the name came about.
Oh, wow.
Before that, I think Mr. Crabier called it's called Gushing Waters,
Okay.
which didn't really sort of work too well.
How long has the stud farm been in existence for?
Jeez, the farm's been there since the 30s, but the stud farm, probably, 15 years, 15 years, probably 10 years.
So Heversham Park, I want to talk about your staff and your team, because you're big on empowerment.
Absolutely huge, yeah.
Talk to us about your team.
So, I think when it comes to empowerment, I think the industry could do so much more, and I think there are a lot of people doing it. So what we've tried to do is Terry Lowe was my previous manager. When Terry died, we had a guy called Jafta. Jaff now works for the Jockey Club,
Okay.
or the NHA. So Jafta came in to be the farm manager and did an absolutely sterling job, and he got poached off me by the NHA, which I was really upset about, but be that as it may. And what we've done is we've taken students every year from the Pretoria Technikon, and we guide them. We've got a guy now called Mo. Mo's our latest prodigy. Mo, Philip, they run the place. We now have a lady that's running the cells called Nadia, and we have a female student for the first time called Jenna. She's now the latest student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although you know, as I said in the intro, busy time in the courtrooms, and we're going to get to the court side of things just now, you still live on the farm and you every day. And
So the trek to Sandton's about 75 km if I go to Chambers. If I go to courts, obviously it depends which court I'm going to.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And do you far more enjoy this aspect of the industry, the breeding side of it?
I thought training was hard. You always try breeding. Breeding is a lot tougher than training.
Training. Being a rider is just way too fun.
Yeah, no. Being a jockey is the best thing ever.
You mentioned tough, and you're quite right, because backing winners is tough, training winners is tough. It's a tough industry, but when the successes are there, it's so rewarding.
It is. I actually watched the interview with a guy that won the Group 1 that was trained by Tony Peter. I can't remember his name. Really nice man. And he sat there and he just said to the interview, he said, this is what it's all about. It's about entertaining my business, having social, and then winning big races. Yes. And that's exactly what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your stallion band, and you've got some good stock there.
It's got bigger.
Yes, absolutely.
It sort of grows every year.
Excited to hear.
So we've had Pomodoro for the past couple of years, who's one of the, he must be one of the most underrated sires in the country. John Costa very kindly sent him to me about 2-3 years ago. Then I've got a really astute partner called Willem Ackerman, He's one of the nicest, most enthusiastic people in horse racing. So we brought in 2 horses now as stallions. We brought in a horse called Gustav Klimt.
Yes.
He's a Galileo, but he's a fast son of Galileo.
Okay.
And then we got a horse called Morpheus. And Morpheus's claim to fame is that he is Frankel's half brother, which is amazing.
Wow. How's that for pedigree?
No, you're not getting better than that. Yeah. And he was a good racehorse, and he's fast. I made the fatal mistake when I started of buying a really good horse. He'd ran second in the King George, but he stayed. And he breeds really nice, or he bred really nice horses, but they're all just slow. And that's the killer.
You mentioned Willem Ackerman. I mean, what was the thinking behind? I mean, there's obviously 2 horses that you guys brought over from the UK, and the Equator was one of them. He was the horse that there was lots of hype about, and he was the unknown horse heading into the July, trying to qualify him and trying to get him into the race. And it was a poor run from him on Hollywood Best on July Day. But what was the thought process of getting him here to South Africa?
So we got very lucky with the Equator.
Sure.
What happened was, I think about 3 weeks after we bought him, he had a sister called Lake Victoria who came out and won the Breeders' Juvenile Cup.
Sure.
Subsequently, she won the Irish Guineas, 1,000 guineas. We read in the press that she's got some form of injury and we don't know where we are. But the Equator has probably, I mean, he's probably the best bred horse in this country. Yes. And the thing about him is he's outstanding. I mean, I don't know if you saw him as a physical specimen. He's beautiful.
100%.
But you know what? We were wrong. It was too much of an ask. Because what had happened, we bought him in October in England. He stood doing nothing for a month. Then he went into quarantine there for a month. Then he came here when he came out of quarantine in February. Then he was on the farm for a couple of months, and then we put him into training. Yeah. And he just came along so quickly. He's one of those horses that really loves what he's doing, and he works. And we obviously had a caution in the July or in the Consolation, and the instructions to Warren Kennedy were simple. When he's had enough, you put your hands down and you just leave him.
Yeah.
So he could have probably run 6th or 7th if Warren had caned him out, but he doesn't help anybody to set the horse back.
What's the plan with him going forward?
He's running Saturday.
Okay.
Obviously, the intention, sorry to interrupt, is to have him standing proudly at the farm.
Yeah. We have a difficult farm geographically, and it's something that I thought we could overcome. It's taken a lot of time. So one of the things that we're looking at now is maybe relocating the horses to Natal.
Okay.
That's something we're considering for next year.
You mentioned geographically, I know there was a farm in KZN that were out at Wartburg, and they mentioned that it's, to get the mares there, not easy, and they've relocated to Mooi River, and they've seen a huge difference.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, if you're based in Natal and you want to go and get a cover in Kimbley, it's a long way to go. You just got to go. I mean, you've got to do what you've got to do.
Yeah. Well, my rationale was that because Maritfontein was so successful and people had to schlep to Kimberley, there's no reason why they couldn't schlep to Joburg.
Sure.
It's picked up with the 2 new stallions, but I think that's also why we introduced the incentives.
Yes. Talk to us about that, your incentive scheme there.
So what we've done is effectively we've taken forward cover. So that the incentive is this, that for the first 2 crops of each stallion, if a horse wins a Group 1, there's a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, whichever the first one is to win a Group 1, they get a 20 million rand incentive for each stallion.
Okay.
So the breeder gets 10 million because obviously the rationale was we want the breeder to send the horse.
Okay.
And then the owner of the horse gets another 10 million. When we released it, I got a phone call from Jonathan Snaith, who I have huge respect for and admiration. And Jonathan came up with a very good idea, was, well, what does the purchaser of the horse get, of the yearling? So Willem and I talked about it, and what we're going to do is we're going to add an extra 2 million in for the purchaser of the horse.
Sure.
Okay, but that's not going to come off the 20; it'll be on top of the 20.
Wow, that's huge.
So if you take it over the 2 years, you're looking at just under 90 million rand as in a bonus incentive.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, if anybody who had half a brand should be sending their best mare and probably their best 2-year-old mare to this horse, because there's just no incentive like it, and never has been.
That's
That's a nice carrot dangling in front of many.
Absolutely.
And especially when you come to sales.
Yes.
It's not a bonus. It's a proper bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to win a Group 1, but I mean that's why everybody buys a horse.
Sure. To compete at that level and to win at that level.
Whether you're spending 50 million or 9 million, you think you're going to win a Group 1, or else nobody would buy the horse.
100%.
Who's been the best horse that you've owned? I mean, that you've raced, and who's?
So my parents had a horse called Ezone years ago. He was a Favros, and I bought him from my father, and he had the worst pasterns ever. It was very slack. And my father was a wonderful judge of ponies. And he looked and says, I'm not taking that. And it arrived because I had to pay for it. Anyway, my mother took it, thank heavens. So, and he was really good. He was probably a lot better than he was because I was training him, and he was great. We took him to Durban, to Cape Town, brought him here a couple of times. He won a race, I think it was called British Airways, over 3,000 meters. He won top division races. He was a very good horse and a very cheap horse,
Or was it confirmation, or there was just nothing to look at?
No, he had the worst bastard you'd ever seen. They were always touching the floor. He was a farm horse, and that's why we got him cheap.
But that good old saying about no rules, and it's just you want to obviously give yourself the best possibility. To you don't want to go and buy horses with the slackest pasterns in town. But there's some of them do run now.
And of course, when he won first time out over 1,200. My father was the best judge of horses on the planet.
Wanting to buy back into the horse?
No, he was there. It wasn't even a choice.
Just touching on your going back to the start farm. I mean, you mentioned the stallions. From the mare side of things,
some mares, we've got some nice mares. We've got a mare called Ball Fortune who did well. I went to sell and I bought a mare called Zirconium a few years ago.
Yes, Mark de Cock's trained.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd sort of been, sort of crazy about the horse since it ran. And he got beat ahead in the July thing. And it came up for sale. And I went to sell and I was buying it. And I probably paid a little bit too much for it, but I was buying it. And we bought her.
Sure.
And we bred a really nice filly out of which actually Michael bought, called Sparkling Jubilee.
Okay.
He's won 4 or 5. And she's got some nice foals on the ground and that type of thing. But she's old now. She's about 19. So.
Do you board mares? Pay clients' mares? Do you board? No. So every mare on the farm's yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mine or Willems?
All Willems. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically the procedure would be mare in, cover out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We keep them there and that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. You've got one daughter. Is that right?
Yes, Electra.
She's a horse lady of the highest order.
Yeah, she's really good. Huh? She's excellent. Yeah.
She does show jumping.
Yeah, she's a bit short of a horse at the moment. We bred a foal, which was a twin.
Okay.
And we kept it for her. So it's her first season of jumping. So next year she'll start competing on it. But really, really talented. Yeah.
Does Heversham have horses coming up the 2-year-old sale now?
We do. We got 11. It's probably our biggest draft ever. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
But all from different stallions.
Okay.
As I said, I properly messed up buying Wings of Desire. I'm the first one to hold my hand up and say it was all my fault. But I'll never make that mistake again. And that's why when we bought Gustav, it had to be fast. It had to be Morpheus or something. Morpheus, a 1,600 meter horse. He won 3 from 7. And he was Franco's half-brother. It's not a tough decision.
Yeah. Sure. Completely off the record, you use those words, hand up, completely my fault. You remember what happened yesterday on the way to Hollywood Bred Scottsville, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, texting on the cell phone, and the policeman next to me, pull over. As I got out the car, said, hand up, sir. It was completely my fault. Write the ticket. But anyway, we got off scot-free, no ticket, and I think he opened up a betting account when I had finished with it.
Even better.
But, so the farm and the sales, that's fantastic. And I want to go back to a funny story. Tell us, we need to have a laugh. It's good to have a laugh. But when you were riding once, they told me you lost your pants. Is that right?
This is from Graham Hawkins, I'm assuming.
We're going to talk about Graham just now, but yes, to answer your question.
Yeah. So what happened was, as you can imagine, I had huge weight issues. Okay. And what happened was my grandmother used to make my breeches because obviously I couldn't get them made because, at 6'2", you're not going to get racing breeches. So my grandmother made them. And being paranoid about weight, I made her put in only one. I mean, looking back, it's ridiculous, putting one sort of stud instead of 2 studs on the front to close. And I was riding in a race, I was riding favourite. And it was at Germiston, and going through the 1800, I realised that my pants had come down.
Everyone behind was just getting flashed.
Yeah, there was a newspaper article about it. Anyway, so what happened was, my pants generally came down. And going down the back straight at Germiston, I had one hand on the reins, and the other hand I was trying to pull up my pants. Very unsuccessful. So I then had to make a decision, go through about the 1400, right? Do I pull the horse out of the race, or do I keep going? So I decided to keep going.
And you won?
No.
Oh, God.
I think you were caught with your pants down.
I think I ran a dirty third, yeah. Right, yeah. I wish it would have been a great story if I'd won.
Absolutely. But you ran third, good enough.
But the funny part was that in those days, racing was still very segregated with the different gold rings, silver ring, and bronze rings. And of course, as we came past the sort of bronze ring, everybody started whistling. No, but as I said, so it's very easy when somebody ever asks me what was your most embarrassing moment, I have no doubt. It's very good.
You have had a long association with Graham Hawkins. You mentioned Graham. He's known as Mr. Racing. How long have you known him?
I've known Graham since when I started. Graham was a very bad influence on me.
I want to go back to law, and I know you wanted to go back to law because it's interesting. Your days are long. Tell us about a typical day in the life of Nigel Riley in the course.
So if I'm at home, I'll get up about 5 and we'll be on the farm around about 5:30 to 6:30, check everything out, have a meeting with the girls and with Mo, if he's there. Then get changed, either go to chambers or go to court.
Is it easy to find balance between the two for you?
The two work out very nicely because I think if I had to run a farm full time, I'd be very bored.
Sure.
I was really bored training horses. I didn't find it mentally challenging at all. Probably why I was no good at it. And law's the same thing. You have to have a detraction from it. You can't, or else it just consumes you the whole time. Yeah.
How do you take to the stresses, Nigel? Because it's anyone who tells you it's not stressful must be.
No. That's why you get paid what you get paid, because of the stress. Because you literally live the people's lives. You have people's lives in your hands. Be it a divorce, be it a liquidation, whatever it is. And it's stressful.
How long has the longest case been for you? Length of time?
You see, they don't tend to run so long at a time. So you normally run for 5 days or so, and then you'll go back in a few months' time.
But one specific case?
You see, it depends, because it also comes to go to appeal, did not go to appeal. Okay. So it can run for a long time. But I haven't done any of those commissions, any of those things that take forever, unfortunately.
Going back to training, who did you work under? Who taught you the ropes?
Geez, who did? So I worked for a guy called Stanley Ferreira for a while. Another guy called George Belletta. Okay. George Belletta was an interesting character. He was just an absolute gambler. And that was basically it.
Okay. Stanley Ferreira, a horseman of the highest order.
He was awesome, yeah. At that stage, I think he had over 100 horses. It's phenomenal.
You talk about gambler. Do you enjoy having a little pet? Do you take a PA?
No, not at all. No. So when I was training, I'd back horses that I thought of my own that could win, because you have more control as to what goes on and that type of thing. Absolutely. I can understand why they say jockeys can't punt, but
which is why it's illegal.
Yeah, but that makes sense. It makes absolute sense. Yeah.
Because no one else is in control but you.
Yeah.
The plans and visions for Heversham Park. What do you want to see fast forward 5 years?
Well, ideally, I like to stay where we are. We've put in really good infrastructure. I think we compare with the farms sort of elsewhere in the country. As an example, when I was at Kimbley, I went and measured their vet crush. The crush that they put the mares and stand the mares at. So our crush is exactly the same dimensions and size as Kimbley's. And I'm a great I'm a great copier. I have no qualms about copying somebody else's great ideas. I mean, it's ridiculous not to.
Yeah, as long as it works.
Yeah.
What's that saying? If you can't beat them, join them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Quite right. It's a good
I mean, Cornwall, I was a bit weird. I was walking around with a tape measure measuring their crush.
I don't want to spread rumours or put out false information. If you were to relocate the farm to KZN, or the mares, would you follow, or would you have to stay in Joburg?
No. My practice is in Joburg, and the practice pays for the mares, so I don't have a choice, But I mean, I love Nottingham Road. I spent many happy hours there with Rob Pickering and other people,
What was his farm called? Middlefield.
Middlefield, yeah.
Which sales has been the most successful for you guys as a stud farm?
That's a very good question, I don't think any of them have been really that good, what we expected. But we never put reserves on horses.
Okay.
And they go for what they go for.
I mean, with these two new stallions, obviously looking for more growth from the farm and hopefully more successful at sales.
Yeah.
What is your view on reserves? I mean, that is optional as a breeder, is that correct?
Yeah. Listen, a lot of people do it. I don't, or we don't, and we don't run up horses either. You will never see us bidding on one of our own horses or getting somebody else to bid on it. It just doesn't work. First of all, it's illegal to have somebody else bidding it on it. Not putting reserves on, not illegal.
No, sure.
But having somebody on the quiet chasing people up, and it's also unethical. In all honesty, yeah.
That's something that's just interests me. I mean, how do you come up with a reserve? Because no one knows anything about the horse. It's an unknown. It's never raced before. You don't know how much ability it has. All you going on is a pedigree. I mean, how do you come up with that amount and you're happy with that amount?
It's a damn good question.
I think the guys that have been doing it, and if you look at the big stud farms, I mean, from Fastfontein onwards, Fastfontein especially, the management there is exceptional. Cloud they've got really good ideas of what they're worth as the physical specimen and the pedigree and that idea. So they're smart. They do it. You didn't get some people that put unrealistic reserves on, and they don't go. And you can see basically, if you look at the results carefully, you can see who's sort of, I don't want to use the word genuine seller, but you can see guys that know what they're doing and others that are sort of hoping that they're going to get an exorbitant price.
Would you factor the cost of what it's cost you to keep the mare, the stallion? Does that come as part of the what you want to put the reserve? Do you include that?
Well, I'm sure they do. If you spend 270,000 rand on a cover for Vercingetorix, you're going to want to try and get your money back.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. That certainly is interesting. But so we know what your hopes and your aspirations are for the farm, and we wish you well, Nigel. And it's been interesting. Certainly, it's been interesting, and we wish you and the whole team well, because it's exciting, especially with this new stallion coming in.
Yeah, it is, and with the incentives,
that is a great incentive. Would you mind repeating that again? Because let everybody hear that again. It's a huge incentive.
So for Morpheus and for Gustav, so for each of them,
right,
for the first 2 years, in other words, their first and second crops, the first Group 1 winner for each of them, for each of those years. Okay, so like year 1 for Gustav, his first Group 1 winner. For Morpheus, his first Group 1 winner. It works out to 10 million rand for the breeder. For Gustav, 10 million rand for the breeder. For Morpheus, 10 million rand for the owner of the winning horse, and 10 million rand for the owner of the Morpheus. And then as we said, we were going to add in an extra 2 million rand for the person that actually signed the chit at the sales.
When will the first crop of these two stallions go on sale?
Well, they'll start covering in September, so we should have foals for 11 months, August next year.
As their books large enough?
Yeah. No, there's mares coming in all the time. And what we've done is, as part of the financial deal we structured, it is limited to 100. We can't go more than that with financially.
One question quickly before we put a lid on things. Why do you think it is that the industry are quick to write off a stallion?
I have no idea. Pomodoro is a classic example of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, apart from arm mares last year, I don't think he got an outside mare.
Sure.
No, and he's the most beautiful horse. He really is, and he's a good stallion. I don't know. It's probably about 16, 17, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. It's a question that we can't answer really, but everyone's picked the right off stallions, and they certainly are. But Nigel, what a lovely half hour we've had together. Thank you for, as I said, it means a lot to us that you got on an aeroplane, flew halfway across
No, it's a pleasure.
provinces. And lovely to hear about Heversham, lovely to hear your funny story and your days and how you got involved. So thanks very much, and we wish you and the team all the
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Raheel. Interesting story.
Very interesting,
And, lovely to have Nigel with us.
Good to hear the side of it from a breeder's point of view. I mean, we always hear from owners, trainers, jockeys' point of view, but to hear it from where it all begins for a horse, I mean, it's quite interesting. And look forward to hearing more about Nigel, more about the farm as well, and hopefully a successful sale fairly soon.
Yeah, absolutely. That's up in Gauteng towards the end of August, but we'll give you more information about that probably on the next podcast. That's a wrap from all of us. Lovely to be in Nigel's company. We're going to enjoy some breakfast and a coffee. You all punt well, be safe, and as always, we will see you in the number one box.